Alright? And also Jeshua and Benaiah and Sherebiah, Jamin, Akab, Shabbataiah, Hodijah, Maaseiah, Kelida, Azariah, Josabad, Hanan, Peliah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the law, and the people stood in their place. So they read in the book in the law of the Most High distinctly, and gave the sense, and caused them to understand the reading. So basically what they did was they were worshiping the Most High. How? By going and learning about the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, reading out of the book, and causing Israel to understand. That's what the deal was. That was the worship. Now, one last scripture real quick, and then we're going to continue on. This is the book of Baruch, the 4th chapter, and the 37th verse. Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sentest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of the Most High. So how is Israel being gathered together? By the word. From the east to the west. So because we're in the western hemisphere right now, and we're being gathered by the word of the Holy One, which is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and rejoicing in His glory. So now when you go back here to the Hebrew, in the Acts, the 26th chapter and the 5th verse, the word there is Hadabakim, right? Wapakwadya. And Hadabakim Wapakwadya means to be joined together, strong spiritual adherence through the commandments, basically. Alright? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the next scripture, which is in Galatians, the 1st chapter. Right? So this is Galatians, the 1st chapter, the 13th and the 14th verse, which says, For you have heard of my conversation in time past in the Jews' religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of the Most High, and wasted it, and profited in the Jews' religion above many mine equals in mine own nation, being more exceedingly zealous of the traditions of my fathers. Now let's go to the Blue Letter Bible, and let's find out what word they have there for Jews' religion. Alright, so we go to Galatians, the 1st chapter, the 13th and the 14th verse. Alright, and then when you scroll down, you see here the Jews' religion. The word that's there, let's do a zoom in, is, bear with me here for 1 second. Alright, the word there is, as you can see right there, is Judaismos. Judaismos. Alright, now what does the word Judaismos mean? It says the Jewish faith and worship. Then they say religion of the Jews, because then devils are always trying to throw that bullshit religion in there, so-called Judaism. So what is it? It's the Jewish faith and worship, as we just read in the book of Nehemiah and other books that we read. Alright, so from there, we're going to do is we're going to go to the Hebrew. We're going to go back to the table of contents in the Hebrew New Testament, and we're going to go to the book of Galatians, the 1st chapter, right? And we're going to go to the 13th verse. The letter Yah is 10, and then the Ga is 13, and then Yada is 14. So now, as we look through here, as we scroll through here, we have right here, you know what, let's do a zoom on it so you brothers can see a little better. And alright, for some reason it's not going now, but here we go. Alright, here we go. Ha Yahawadayath. Ha Yahawadayath. Ha is the, Yahawada is Judah, Yahawadayath is the Jews' worship. Alright, and as you scroll down to the 14th verse of Galatians, the 1st chapter, what do you have there again? Ha Yahawadayath. Ha Yahawadayath. The Jews' worship. That's all it means. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go from there, and we're going to go back to the King James Bible. We're going to go to the Apocrypha, And in the Apocrypha, we're going to go to 1 Maccabees, the 1st chapter, and the 43rd verse. And in the book of 1 Maccabees, the 1st chapter, the 43rd verse, it says, what? Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, meaning to Antiochus' religion. So, because Antiochus during the time of the Maccabees and during the time of like around 168 BC, you had this devil by the name of Antiochus Epiphanes, who was a Greek, who was an Edomite, and what he did was he destroyed our temple, and he made Israel to worship Jupiter in the temple. He made Israel to eat swine's flesh, and some of them wicked ass niggas were actually doing that. But then you had certain ones that weren't going for it, like Judas Maccabees and his brothers and his father and other great men like that. So it says, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. Now, let's go from there. Alright, I got the Latin Vulgate here, right? So what we're going to do is, matter of fact, before I read that, since I'm here already in the book of Galatians, we're going to scroll down to Galatians, the 1st chapter, the 13th and the 14th verse. And as you can see there, Jews' religion. Just want to hit this real quick. Over here, what do you have in the Latin? Judaismo, which is a Jews' worship. And the 14th verse, Judaismo, same word. Alright? Alright, so since we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down, or should I say scroll up to the book of 1 Maccabees. Alright, just bear with me here. 1 Maccabees, the 1st chapter. Now in the Latin and in the Latin, the verse is actually the 45th verse. Alright, see, and many of Israel consented to his service. See what it says right there? Service. It has said nothing about religion. Alright, and many of Israel consented to his servants, to his service. Alright, now on this side over here in the Latin, it doesn't have the word service there, but I have another Latin Vulgate, which is called the Clementine Vulgate. You know, which you know the Vulgate kind of, it goes off because there's certain words that they stick in there on purpose, you know, for the purpose of worshiping them demonic religion, doctrines and dogmas that the Roman Catholic Church set up. But in this particular case, they are on point with this right here. And I want to show you this. This is the 45th verse. As a matter of fact, let me do a zoom in on that. See, it's the 45th verse, and the word that we're looking for is servituti. Now the word servituti means service. So it says, et multi ex Israel consenserunt servituti. Right? So meaning many of the Israelites consented to his service or to his worship. It had nothing to do with religion. Alright, so from there, let's go back to the Latin Vulgate, and we're going to go to 1 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. So let's scroll back up and let's hit the 2nd chapter and the 19th verse, and we're going to hit another verse, and then we're going to take a quick break and then come back and I'll do a part 2 to this. Alright, this is 1 Maccabees, the second chapter and the 22nd verse. And it says, this was Mattathias speaking, which was Judas Maccabees' father. It says, we will not hearken to the words of King Antiochus, neither will we sacrifice and transgress the commandments of our law to go another way. Now, let me show you something. This is the book of 1 Maccabees in the English, right? This is the 22nd verse. It says, we will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion. See? To go from our religion. Alright? Which was showing you that it's basically they are going off on that. But now, what I want to do is we're going to hit that in the Latin, but then I want to hit it also in the Greek, the Septuagint, in the Apocrypha in the Greek. So let me just hit this real quick. It says, no, Antiochus, see, transgredientes legis nostra, which means to transgress our laws.